fasting is, from my perspective, a plan that anyone can add in small, thoughtful amounts and dial in just the amount of it that you can tolerate or that you want to tolerate, something like that, that makes your life better. This is the mindset I want to use. I never want people to add a fasting practice into their life and say, oh, this is making things more stressful. This is like something I'm adding. Really, to me, a fasting, it's a subtraction, right? Fasting is just taking away things. And so we're taking away food for some number of meals, maybe just one, as a place to start, maybe even just a snack, Here, let me just outline what I see as like simple fasting, right? Many people in our society are told, okay, you need to have your 3 meals a day and you need to keep a snack going to keep your metabolism going. It's like envisioning like our body is like a train engine and we got to keep shoveling the coal into the system. Otherwise, the engine is going to slow down. That's the analogy that I think most people have, which is completely a bad analogy. So if someone's eating 6 times a day, I say someone at 3, I call a meal anytime just someone is eating. So a snack, I'd call a meal. And so, someone's eating breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner, bedtime snack. It's like 6 meals a day. I say, can you go 6 to 5, right? And if I had to pick out of that scenario, I'd say just knock out that bedtime snack. That's the worst time to be eating. Metabolically for the body, you're going to just directly store that stuff away. So a process of simple fasting is just opening up more space. If someone is, they're eating breakfast at 6 and then they're having a bedtime snack at 10 o'clock, there's only a space of maybe 8 hours without food. And I say, well, let's start opening that up. We knock out the bedtime snack and then we just opened up 4 hours of more space in the body where that food can be processed. We can stop running off that energy. And the body can say, okay, now that energy is gone, what is next? Well, blood sugar is next. And as we burn through blood sugar's getting down, like we were saying, between 90 and 100. Now the body says, okay, I like that. Let's leave that alone. Like, what is next? Like, oh, well, we have this body fat. Then the body will start mobilizing the hormones to access that body fat. And the more hours that we open up that way, the stronger that effect is from the body. That's controlled hormonally. Body, as our blood sugar levels normalizing, our insulin level is dropping, counter hormones like adiponectin and growth hormone are coming out to say, let's access that body fat. So basically the process that I use when I'm working with clients or someone is to say, whatever state we're at, we're eating 6 times a day or 5, 4, maybe you're just eating 3 times. Then the core process, what I really want people to take action on, like the action step, more than anything, is to work things down from 3 meals to 2. That's when we really start cranking in some serious power. If someone's eating 3 times a day, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, I try to say, get rid of one of those meals on one end, not the middle one ideally, so that we can open up that larger food-free space. If I were to summarize maybe the last 30, 40 years of health counseling for weight in, our society, I would call it like the calorie era, right? Like people are counting everything and we're counting calories. Not that that has no value, but if I were to count one thing, like if I could only count one thing, I would count food-free hours, right? Because that's what really changes things in the body hormonally. The longer we go without food, the more drive we send to the body to make the hormones that are telling the body to access the energy in the body fat. This is what people do not see with constant eating, even if it's calorie deprived, right? So people go on very low calorie diets where they're eating little bits of food all the time. And what people don't see is, okay, yes, the calories are very low, but we're not, that total food-free hours are also very low. And so we're not creating the hormones that the body uses to access the energy out of the body fat. And that's what puts us in this very compromised metabolic state. So if I could count one thing, I would count fasting interval, right? How many hours without food? And so I like that analogy of a dial, slowly increasing the amount that your body can tolerate. And the body strengthens. It's like a type of strength, a metabolic strength. For many people, they start getting really good results when you go 3 to 2. And it's not everybody. And, it's interesting to think about why. But I always tell people, I never have people go beyond that, eating twice a day, until it feels easy. And I always tell people fasting is not necessarily easy. This is why I called it simple fasting and not easy fasting, because, everybody can see, okay, it is simple, but not necessarily always easy, certainly. But you can train yourself to do it. And what I tell people, although it may not be easy at the start, the goal is to find a place of ease with it, to teach yourself and gently learn to do it over the time so that it can become easy. And that's my goal for people. Although I never come out and say, like, oh, this is easy, you should just do it. My goal, I really want it to become easy for people. If every time you were to try to practice fasting, it was always as hard as the first time you did it, I think very few people would be able to stick with it, and including me, right? I mean, the first times that I tried to do it, I was like, oh man, I don't know, I don't know about this, This is why, I spent a good 6-8 months. I've told this story before. I saw a patient have healing from fasting. I met this woman who was doing all this fasting and she liked it. And I'm like, for real? Like, you can do that? And then I spent some time figuring it out myself because I was like, if I can't do this, like, there's no way I'm ever going to tell someone else to do it. But then I came to see, oh, you can adjust to it, learn to do it. And then, I don't know exactly, it was getting to be quite a while ago now. It did become much easier. And then I was like, oh, and then I just started to feel better. And then many people experience that. So if you're going through a process like that, I hope that you can experience something like this over time. And that's why I always tell people, you don't have to rush into it. You want to always keep your mindset positive. Give yourself plenty of space. We have so much pressure in our society to accomplish things quickly. We feel we put so much pressure on ourselves to accomplish things quickly. And that pressure can be very, very intense. And that's not helpful, ultimately. Finding a space where the pressure is less. I like that. Fasting as subtraction, thinking, okay, we're subtracting things. That's the sort of space where it can start to find a place of ease. So this is the process. 3 meals to 2, and then, if you need more power, 2 to 1. Doesn't have to be every day. Could be every other day, could be once a week. And then, of course, we could talk through a whole way to smooth that out. And then 1 to 0, just opening up a full fasting day. Something absolutely you can do.